Well, good afternoon, everyone. Recently, on behalf of the police department, we released a statement regarding the implementation of our new body-worn camera program. And the reason I felt that was so important and that we needed to do that was to give information, provide information to the public regarding a significant investment that they've made in the police department that has now been placed on hold. As you all know, in the last several years, and really even before that, transparency has been a big issue with police departments around the country. We want to be no different than that. We want to be as transparent as possible with everything we do. And when a public entity, when the city of Oklahoma City and its residents invest a significant amount of money, millions of dollars into something, and are not getting the results of all of the things that are capable in that technology, we feel it's important to let everyone know where we're at and what's going on with that. And so that's why the statement was released today, and I'll answer any questions that maybe you have.
Can you just give us a basic situation, or really like where all this started, where it is now? Sure.
Our body-worn cameras that we were using when they were originally implemented, great technology. They were on the cutting edge of camera technology at the time, but it's like anything. It's like your cell phones. After a few years, newer and better products come out, and also the older technology doesn't work as well. We were at a point with our body-worn camera technology with two things. Number one, we didn't have enough cameras for all of our officers that were in patrol-related assignments dealing with the public on a daily basis. But then also, too, those cameras were beginning to fail, specifically battery life. So, for example, in a 10-hour shift, it was not uncommon for an officer's camera to run down maybe 3, 4, 6, 7 hours into that shift and not last the whole shift. And we had some instances where that affected a call that they were on, something that had happened where that camera shut down in the middle of that. So it was time to replace that technology. And when we did so and started moving forward, we knew there might be some things with the new technology that wasn't present in the older cameras that we would need to sit down and negotiate with the FOP. And we did that. Thought we had an agreement in place, and then some other factors entered into that, and that got shut down. And so we're kind of stuck where we are now. We have the new cameras in place. They are out there, but we don't have all the features activated. And right now, the cameras that we're installing in our vehicles, we can't turn those on at all until we reach some type of agreement. And so I just feel it's important for the public to know that their investment in technology, that we want to get it out there, we want to use it, but we're not able to do that right now through the bargaining process.
It seems like there's one of the key factors of the new one is the switch that goes on, I guess, when the gun is drawn, period. How is the new stuff different from the old stuff as far as activation and that kind of stuff?
There are some automated features. For example, like you said, when an officer draws their firearm, which to me and most of the officers I've talked to, that's a safety feature. They don't want to have to mess with their camera if they're in the middle of a situation where they have to draw their firearm. They don't want to be trying to push a button on a camera. Also, too, what you see is when officers are engaged in a pursuit or other high risk and stressful interaction, even a traffic stop, that's just another thing that they have to do in the car. There's a lot of things going on in that vehicle when they're doing that. So it has automated features synced with the cameras that are in the car. So when that, for example, when the overheads come on a patrol vehicle, the camera features are automated. It's also automated if multiple officers are on a call and one officer activates their cameras, activates his or her camera. They don't have to, the other officers on the scene don't have to worry about that. It activates all of them there too. So, and these are just technology upgrades. It's no different. You know, really the procedures we have now would apply to that. It's no different than, again, I compare it to like a cell phone. When you get a new cell phone with new features, you know, you want to use those features and have those. And it's all about safety. It's all about, you know, transparency and making things easier on those officers out in the field who already have enough to do as it is.
Your statement mentioned that the disagreements coming from trying to add a recommendation from 21 CP. Can you talk specifically about what recommendation y'all were trying to add to the procedure and why that's caused an issue with the FOP?
Sure. One of the things that we tried to implement as part of the bargaining process this year was the 21 CP recommendation to not view body camera prior to an interview after a critical incident, such as an officer-involved shooting. That was introduced into the bargaining this year. It was pulled away so that we could try and reach an agreement on some of these other things. But that entered into the equation when we entered that into the table on bargaining. Then the other items that we were trying to get through the body-worn camera program were also pulled into that. So we tried to remove that so that we could reach an agreement and use the technology on our cameras that are out there now and get moving forward with this and work on some of those other things later.
So does the FOP have an issue with the new technology specifically, or is their main issue with the not viewing the video?
I think you'd have to ask them, but I could tell you in our meetings that we originally had when we came to a tentative agreement, there really wasn't issues with the new technology in and of itself. And so basically, I think there were some things that they just wanted to clarify, which I appreciate, to make sure that some of those new technologies, things weren't used so that it could be abused. And that it could only be used in instances that there was a strong justification for using them. So I think they had some legitimate concerns there, but again, I felt like we worked that out. But then this other part with the interviewing, when that got entered in, that kind of pulled some of that back. But again, we've pulled that out for now to try and work that out later so that we can move forward with this technology. And this in-car technology too is something that we haven't had in our patrol cars and in the past. So that is something that's new and different, and that's part of the reason we wanted to sit down and negotiate this and get this going. Because I mean, again, the majority of officers that you talk to out there, they want this technology. They want to use it. It's very beneficial to them. It protects them. It protects the community. It helps us be transparent. We're getting ready to release information on our most recent officer-involved shooting, and so our officers have become accustomed to this, and they want that protection.
With the FOP filing a grievance, what is the next steps in this process?
So we disagreed with the terms in the grievance, and it's at the point now where it will probably go to an arbitration, and then an arbitrator will rule on it. And the reason too I felt it's so important is when this happened before, that shut down our body-worn camera program altogether. So the public definitely needs to know that that's. We hope that won't happen. We hope it doesn't get to that, but that's always a potential that's out there, and therefore that's why I felt like the public needed to know.
When was that last dispute?
I'm not 100% sure, but I think it was like 2016, 17, somewhere around in there.
So when you say shut down the whole program, that would mean officers wouldn't be able to use the body cameras they already have?
There's the potential that an arbitrator could say that until we reach an agreement that they could shut down, what we have. Again, I'm hopeful that that won't happen, but if that potential's out there, people need to know that.
How long does arbitration usually take?
It just depends. COVID has really delayed that process because normally you pick an arbitrator and then that person has to schedule a time in their schedule to come and handle the process. With COVID, those times have been a little bit longer. Sometimes arbitrators won't travel, and we have to sometimes schedule it a different way, maybe virtual. So it's just really random in how long it takes. It could take 6 months. It could take a year. It could take 3 months. It just depends on the arbitrator.
The investment for the new body-worn camera technology, when was that actually approved? And when did you guys get the new technology?
I believe it was approved by council back in October. And we started, as soon as it was approved, we started implementing the cameras. Because again, the cameras we had were failing. We're not working. We're not lasting a shift. So we rolled them out as quick as we could. And at this point, we haven't turned on. As with any type of technology advancements, there's a way that you can control that, and we haven't turned on a lot of the features. We've been installing the camera equipment in our vehicles as those vehicles come out, and some of them are retrofitted too. But the officers themselves have the ability to turn that on or not, and we've told them they don't have to turn those on right now because we don't have an agreement or a procedure in place.
But some of them have turned on the new features.
Not the new features, just the equipment that's in the vehicles. We ran a pilot program prior to implementation. And so as part of that pilot program and testing, we had to test with the vendor to make sure it would work with our other equipment in the car. We were able to at least see what they do. But the ones that we're installing now, the point I'm trying to make is I can't keep them from turning it on, which we want them to turn it on anyway. But they've been told that that's not covered as part of the new agreement.
In the past, there was complaints about the recording time and the storage. Has that been addressed with the new system?
All resolved with the new system. All the storage is cloud-based and handled by the vendor. We don't have to do anything, as far as updating servers or anything like that. It's all handled by the vendor, and it's much better quality video. And again, that's part of our annual fees that we pay to have the vendor handle all that storage.
You said you guys were planning on coming to an agreement. When was the last time you guys talked to each other? Is it just through these press conferences? And are you planning on attending the one that they have at 1:30 as well?
No, I won't be attending that. We've been meeting regularly through contract negotiations, and we've reached out again very recently to try and resolve this latest issue too.
Anyone else? I guess just when was the grievance filed by the FOP? Do you know when?
I don't remember the exact date. It's been within the last few weeks.
And have you all met since they filed the grievance?
I haven't, but there has been some meetings as far as contract negotiations. There's been some meeting and discussion, but I haven't been in those.
Are there any concerns about any security issues with the new system moving forward and this new vendor?
No, it's the vendor's been around for a long time. We're not the first city to use this vendor. It's Axon is who we use, and they've been in the business a long time. A lot of major cities larger than us are using them and have had very good success.